Welcome to the Guatemala boatyard, where we are busy working on the boat. We have been on our boat for about 8 years now, and one big problem with being on an all-electric sailboat is everything is electric. Each year we've just gathered more and more things that have sucked up the power.
Got our water maker.
And the one little problem is we are on a 35-foot sailboat, which, as you can see, there's not much place to put solar. Our decks are too small. We've measured them as well. We have a very flimsy bimini, which we're going to be dealing with later. We have some solutions for that. And also we have our articulating solar panels, which have, at this point, kept up with everything. But when it doesn't keep up, our big nemesis has to be pulled out. And since we've been in this boatyard, I've been looking around and seeing all this shade on everybody's boat, thinking, what if we put solar on them? So come with me and I'm going to show you what we're going to do in order to bring more solar on our tiny sailboat. So we went back to the States recently and picked up 4 solar panels that fit in this suitcase, and I've rolled them and brought them over to our friend Brian and Holly, who have a sewing machine, which I do not, and they are helping me with this project and helping me lending me the sewing machine in order to do so. I think it's quite befitting to show you how easy these solar panels are, because we just rolled them up and put them inside of this suitcase in order to save money instead of having them shipped all the way to Guatemala. But we rolled them up and slid them right in, and they were fine throughout the flight. 4 of them are in there.
Lay this down and separate it.
Yeah, it's gonna be all right. The first part of the project begins. All right, so first thing we're doing is we're gonna put the zipper on. So the zipper is gonna attach to the solar panel, and then the other part of the zipper is gonna attach to our panel. And that way we can zip them off and then stow them, because we're not gonna be sailing around with these. I'm gonna grab the end of that.
Right there, and then we come up.
And for anyone who has ever worked on a sailboat, no project ever goes smoothly. We had to call in our friend Millie, who is a seamstress here in Guatemala and knows this machine inside and out, and ask her for a little help on getting it dialed in.
So, okay, the tension on the bottom, normally I take a resemblance on the thread, because it depends on the thickness of the thread. Like
Right.
if the thread is too thick, then you need a little bit less tension so it can go through the little plate that allows the thread to go in and
And the
out.
bobber.
Yeah, in the bobbin
Holder.
And then in the top is more about the material. Is it a thick material? Is it a little material? Is it it has that double-sided tape, depending on what it is.
For all of you guys who have sewn with a Sailrite machine, this was gold finding out from her that the bottom bobbin tension is about the thread and the needle tension is about the material. So if you have those little loops coming out, that's probably why.
Awesome.
Oh man, so good. Thanks, Millie.
And heavy, oily.
And oil it.
And oil it, please.
And after a day or so of oiling, tensioning, and researching every Sailrite video, we were back in business and the machine was finally working fantastically. All right, so now we are going to attach this stuff to the solar panel. Now that we have the zippers attached, we used a hot knife to cut out the protective flaps for the zippers. We used double-sided tape to create the hems. Don't you love our little assembly line? And then we sewed on the Velcro to the flaps. Then we taped those to the tops of the solar panels.
I can hold on one side.
Okay, I think right there. Yep. Just kind of push it down for me after I go by.
Meet Brian, the head seamstress, and our assistant, Niels. After that, we sewed it all together onto the panel.
How do we do this, Brandy?
We temporarily attached the other side of the zipper on each of the sides. And then we placed double-sided tape, so once we laid it down and centered it on the panel, we were able to remove the tape and glue down the zipper that would be attached to the panel.
Okay, you going?
Yep,
we're
going. Before sewing it all down, we lined the zipper with the opposite side of the Velcro that would allow the protective zipper cover to attach to the panel. So in the end, the solar panel will be attached to the shade panel with a zipper and Velcro, helping it stay super secure. Oops. Oh well. That's why we had the Velcro. All right, we are at the final stage. We're just putting grommets in now. Everything looks great. It was the uglier side up, right?
Yes.
All right. This, right?
Yep. Hold it down firmly.
Yeah, no kidding. Don't miss.
That should be good.
Voila! Woohoo! One extra one. Yeah. Just when we thought we were done, we decided we were going to make some bags for the solar panels to go in. They look so good. I'm so excited to show you guys, but we're going to wait and to reveal the final project once we get on the boat and get them all hung up for you. But now we'll be able to do 2 in a bag and make them real tight, so they should be able to fit into the cockpit locker real easy, and just trying to make this the easiest possible. That way we don't have to tie them up and then maybe get them scratched, and this way they'll be protected. I have the hardest job. Holding.
Keep pulling.
What's that?
Keep pulling.
Bigger than a sock. My legs aren't even that long, so I can't stick my legs in it.
Awesome.
We've got a bag. Now let's hope it fits in the cockpit locker. So with making a bag, we are making a drawstring to go over it. So in order to get this through here, it's really difficult. We tried a safety pin, but it didn't work. So we are using this fish tape. I'm just gonna fish it through. Voila. If you didn't notice, you should go back and count how many outfit changes we had, because this actually took many, many days to complete, and probably would have taken months if it wasn't for Brian and Holly. So a huge shout out to you guys. Thank you so, so much. That's a wrap. All right, so you're probably wondering why we decided to go with flexible other than rigid. We do already have our two 350 watt panels on our back that are rigid. We have future plans for panels on our bimini, so those were both out. But we need more power to keep up with everything that's going on in our boat. When Bouge RV reached out to us to test out their 200 watt Yuma SIG panels, we said yes. Because I've been sitting here in the boatyard looking around and thinking, everybody has these shades, but why doesn't anyone have solar panels on them? So now we are doing a double duty here. We are getting shade and we're getting solar, which is always the best on the boat. Two purposes in one, right? We always say, if it doesn't have two purposes, then it shouldn't be on our boat. So the extra special thing about these guys is that they're not monocrystalline. They're actually called SIGs, which means copper, iridium, indium, gallium, selenide. It doesn't really matter. What it really matters is that the fact that they're light, they're really flexible, and they're super thin, which is everything that we need to have on this boat because we're only a 35-foot boat. There's only so much space, and there's only so much room for weight. And the best part is that we can roll them up really thin. They roll up with a diameter of 11 inches, so we can roll them up and put them in my little special bag and throw them in the cockpit lockers. So remember when I said, when we got rid of all these hang-ons, I know I'll come up with something to put in that empty space, and here it is.
Each one of these 200 watt Yuma panels are 26 by 86 inches. They only weigh up to 7 pounds.
Do the Arnold pose.
I don't know what that is. Is that it?
That's the Egyptian pose.
I don't know the Arnold pose.
Yeah, there you go. Stick your fingers out. Yep.
And they are 360-degree flexible, which is great for us because we're going to be rolling them up pretty tight, stuffing them in bags, and throwing them in the cockpit locker. And they won't retain a memory. So with other panels, because they're made of different materials, they'll actually keep that shape that you roll them in or put them in. These won't do that. And it's nice that we do have them up off the deck, because if they were on the deck, we would more than likely burn our feet because they get super hot.
Also, we don't have a room.
Yeah, we definitely don't have the deck space for them. And by having them up here, we get a nice amount of airflow, which helps with their efficiency. Because when panels get hot, they don't output as much power. These panels are super durable. We saw a guy online shoot bullets into one panel, and it was still outputting up to, I think it was 75% of its max wattage, which is insane. And the reason that these can do it versus other glass panels is because instead of like those panels which only have 2 to 4 bypass diodes, these have 48. So basically if it gets shaded or damaged, the diode will be bypassed, allowing the panel to still produce power. Unlike our back ones, which if a bird poops on one or we get any kind of shading from the boom or the mast, it destroys our output.
These panels are really made to handle rough conditions, and I don't really know what's more rough than being out on the ocean on anchor. We're not going to be using these sailing, but on anchor with the salt, the wind, the sea air, and this guy. It should handle all those rough conditions nicely.
We are in the Rio. It's a jungle and it rains all the time here. And thankfully these panels are IP68 rated, so they are virtually dustproof and waterproof. So much so that they can be submerged up to 5 feet under the water for 30 minutes without being damaged. They're also category 4 hurricane rated, which hopefully we'll never experience any of that stuff. But if so, we know that these will at least stand up to it. Maybe not Saoirse, but
Or
the
you.
panels will be
Or
there.
you.
Or me, yeah. I'm probably the roughest thing they're gonna see. It is nasty out today. It's not ideal for testing out these panels, but thankfully we got them up yesterday and ran a few quick tests.
Nice working in the shade, huh?
Yeah. Very nice. Alright, the wiring's pretty much done, at least for testing purposes. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's cloudy out, so it's not the best, but better than nothing. Pull up the phone.
Drum roll.
Success! It's connected. Looks like we're bouncing anywhere from 60 to 120 watts.
And that's just with 2 panels.
Yeah, just 2 panels are hooked up right now. They're hooked up in parallel using these fancy MC4 parallel connectors. But yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, then I have that running to, because it's a 24 volt system, I would have had to basically stepped it up somehow to get it to the 53. Actually, the solar controller needs 59 volts to start pumping power into the batteries. So I'm using this booster. It's a DC to DC booster. I have it set to output 80 volts, which it's successfully doing. And that way, no matter what's coming into the panels, I'll always be outputting 80 volts for the solar controller, because then it can take that and convert it to the proper amperage.
So where do we expend most of our energy while living on a boat? Pretty much at anchor. So having something like this is ideal, because now we're going to have power and shade, making it cooler inside and bringing in way more power for all the electronics that we use on our boat. With the panels, I had some leftover Big Duck fabric, which we use for the bimini, and it's holding up amazing. So I knew that this is a product I wanted to use. It's waterproof, as you can see with the water that's coming off of the panels now, but I knew it was going to be strong and durable enough to hold the panels and stay put. So my friend Brian and Holly, who have a Sailboat, were so amazing and helped me, along with a couple of their children in their marina, create these. We had a couple of different iterations of it. It first started off with this guy, where we sewed zippers into the panel and then have this Velcro on top in order to protect the zipper itself. And then we thought, you know what, this is way too robust. When are we ever going to remove it? Beau and I had actually brought these over, tested them. So we still have seams to put in. We're going to put an inch seam on each side with the grommets, but I just wanted to see if it lines up really well.
That looks good.
And I just thought to myself, we're never going to take these off. There's no reason to. And if we needed to just unattach it from the fabric, great. So we went over, and this is our second iteration, just sewing them directly onto the panels. I think they turned out really smooth. We could have sewn pockets and then placed them inside the pockets instead of sewing directly onto the fabric or onto the panel. But I thought that might be too flimsy. They do have these eyelets that you could sew into and then put maybe a border around them, which is probably what I would have done. You got to be a little bit careful about the warranty and making modifications to them, so check with the warranty. Speaking of warranty, Bouge RV has a 10-year replacement warranty and 12 if you purchase through the Bouge RV website. And we have a code for you guys to have an additional discount if you enter it in on the Bouge RV website. Well, that's a wrap on that. We're hoping that once we get on Anchor, we'll be able to get these guys up and put them to a true test. We'll come back with you guys with all that information, how it's keeping up with our battery bank, what power we're bringing in, being on Anchor. It's just not as ideal to be out here on the hard, but we wanted to show you guys these all set up and how we're putting them on him and how we're maximizing all this solar for a very small sailboat. Okay, so SIG stands for Psyllium, no. What does it stand for?
Copper.
Copper.
Indium.
Indium. Gallium selenide. Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Recording?
Yep. What was I gonna say? Oh.
They do really well in these shaded, cloudy conditions. A lot better than our monocrystallines that we have mounted in the back. Where was I going with that?
Brian, do you have a happy dance?
Got a good process down.